They say beneath the green hills of Ireland, something ancient still stirs. Not ghosts, not gods, but the fair folk, the Aos Sí, beings older than memory watching from beneath the mounds as the mortal world forgets their name. Long before Ireland was called Ireland, before cathedrals and kings, the land was ruled by whispers, whispers of another race unseen but ever near. They were called the Aos Sí, pronounced Ishi, meaning people of the mounds. To the Celts, these weren't tiny winged creatures from bedtime tales. They were radiant and terrible, taller than humans with eyes like moonlight on water, and voices that could charm the soul out of a body. Their homes were not cottages in forests, but ancient burial mounds, green domes scattered across the Irish countryside, called side. Locals still point to them, smooth hills that seem to breathe under mist. They say when the wind moves just right, you can hear laughter beneath the soil. And maybe, a door creaking open. To understand the Aos Sí we must first step back, to the time of the Tuatha Dé Danann, the old gods of Ireland. They descended from the clouds, clothed in light and power, bringing art, music and knowledge to humankind. For centuries they ruled the Emerald Isle with beauty and strength. But when mortal men arrived, the Milesians, ancestors of the Irish, a great war broke out. The gods were defeated not by strength but by destiny. And as part of their truce, the Tuatha Dé Danann were forced underground, into the hills, the hollow places, the unseen world. Thus they became the Aos Sí. Not vanished but hidden. Not dead but transformed. The divine became the mysterious. And the gods became fairies. Ireland is dotted with thousands of mysterious mounds, Brú na Bóinne, Newgrange, Knockma, and countless nameless hills rising like sleeping giants. To the eye they are earth and stone. To the Aos Sí, they are palaces of light beneath the ground, where time bends and seasons blur. It's said that during the Samhain night, the Celtic New Year, when the veil between worlds thins, the doors to these mounds swing open. Those who wander too close might hear music drifting through the dark, sweet and sorrowful like a promise. Follow it and you might step into their realm, a world bathed in perpetual twilight, where no mortal grows old, and where few return unchanged. The Aos Sí are not one kind of being, but a host of them. Each mound, each hollow belongs to a city court, noble houses of the Otherworld. Some are bright and gracious. The Seelie, bringers of inspiration, beauty, and good fortune. Others dwell in shadow. The unseelie, wild, vengeful, feeding on mortal fear and folly. Among them reigns the fairy queen, often linked to Ain, goddess of love and summer, Cleodna, the sea's bright daughter, or even Morrigan, the phantom queen of death. To meet her gaze is to forget the world you came from. To dance in her court is to lose track of centuries. And when she smiles, she might be blessing you or claiming your soul. Irish folklore is filled with warnings, tales of farmers, poets, and travelers who strayed too close to a fairy mound. One night, a young harpist named Oisin followed strange lights into a ring of stones. He vanished for what felt like 3 nights, but when he returned, 300 years had passed. The world he knew was gone. When he set foot on mortal soil, he aged in an instant and crumbled into dust. Another story tells of a farmer who plowed through a mound despite warnings. That night his cattle died. His tools rusted. His home burned without flame. And from the ashes, faint laughter echoed, as if someone below had taken offense. Even today, construction projects in Ireland sometimes avoid fairy mounds out of respect, or fear. Not because of old superstition, but because even in modern times when a mound is disturbed, strange things seem to follow. Lights appear. Machines fail. Dreams turn restless. And sometimes people simply vanish. The Aos Sí dwell in a mirror of our world, the Otherworld or Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth. It is a realm of endless beauty, where no one grows old, no winter falls, and sorrow does not exist. Yet beneath the splendor lies an eerie silence, like a song missing its last note. To mortals it appears through mist, moonlight, or reflections in still water. Step too close and you might cross without realizing. You'll feel warmth, light, joy, until the day you try to return. For time does not flow the same there. A night spent with the Aos Sí could mean centuries in the mortal world. And if you eat their food or drink from their cups, you'll never belong to this world again. Here lies the hidden truth. The Aos Sí are not merely spirits of nature. They are exiles of divinity. Once gods, now shadows of what they were. bound beneath the earth, between light and darkness, watching humankind reshape their sacred land. They are both guardians and avengers, the echo of a world lost to time. When forests fall, when sacred wells dry, when mounds are leveled, it is said the Aos Sí mourn. And when they mourn, the world trembles, in storms, in sickness, in the quiet dread before dawn. But for those who respect the old ways, leaving milk by the door, whispering greetings to the unseen, treading lightly upon their hills, the Aos Sí can bless with inspiration, music, and luck beyond measure. Because the fair folk remember kindness. And they never forget a debt. Though born in Celtic lands, the idea of the hidden people echoes across the world. In Iceland they are the Huldufolk, elves who live in stones and hills hidden from human sight. In Scotland they are the Sith, kin to the Aos Sí, haunting misty glens and mountain passes. In Wales the Tylwyth Teg, the fair family, dance in moonlit meadows, stealing away those who spy on their revels. Even in Norse lore, the Alfar dwell beneath mounds, shimmering with an unearthly light. Different names. Same essence. Perhaps all are fragments of one ancient truth, the memory of beings who walked beside us once before fading into myth. Yet not all encounters with the Aos Sí end in beauty. Some tales speak of changeling children, infants stolen by the fairies, replaced by pale, silent copies that never grow, never laugh. Others tell of travelers lured into the hills by haunting music, never to be seen again. And some whisper that when death approaches, the Aos Sí gather, not in malice but in mourning, to guide the soul beyond the veil. To see them, it said, is both a blessing and a curse. Because those who glimpse their world too deeply seldom return unchanged. They say the Aos Sí are not cruel, only forgotten. Forgotten and furious. Furious at being reduced to bedtime sprites, tiny creatures of wings and sugar, when once they were fire and starlight, wind and stone, sea and thunder. Once, mortals whispered their names with reverence. Now those names drift through the air like dust, faint, fading, almost lost. And yet the fair folk endure. Because divinity, even diminished, does not die. It waits. Long before memory, before language took shape on mortal tongues, the Aos Sí walked freely across the living earth. They were not separate from nature, they were nature's pulse made visible. When the rivers laughed, it was their laughter. When the storms wept, it was their grief. They were the bridge between what was seen and what could only be felt. But when humankind began to claim the land, drawing borders, plowing fields, cutting forests, the Aos Sí felt the first tremor of exile. Each stroke of the axe was a heartbeat silenced. Each wall, each church, another thread severed between worlds. And so they retreated, not in defeat but in sorrow. They folded their brilliance beneath the earth, wrapping themselves in mist and silence, vowing to return when mortals remembered how to listen. Yet centuries passed, and the world grew loud. The hum of machines replaced the hum of bees. The glow of screens outshone the glow of moonlight. The Aos Sí watched from below, unseen, unheard, as belief turned to myth and myth to mockery. Still, they wait. Because even silence, in time, can become a doorway. The Aos Sí are bound to Ireland, to its rivers, stones and skies, as veins are bound to a heart. Every hill that falls to ruin, every stream polluted, every sacred grove cut down, deepens their wound. They do not rage as mortals do. Their vengeance is quieter, the slow unraveling of balance. A farmer may find his crops wither overnight. A traveler may lose his way where the path was once clear. A melody may twist from joy to sorrow mid-song. The Aos Sí do not destroy without cause, they remind. They are the echo of balance demanding to be restored. Imagine a mound beneath the mist, grass silver with dew, stones half hidden, a single hawthorn tree standing sentinel. Step closer and the air thickens. The world hushes. You feel the pulse beneath your feet, steady, ancient, alive. Inside that hill lies a world untouched by time. Crystals breathe light through the chambers. The air glows with pale gold, shifting like the surface of a lake. Figures move there, tall, graceful, cloaked in the shimmer of dawn. Eyes like starlight, hair flowing as if caught in a wind that belongs to no season. They do not speak in words but in harmonies, voices that ripple like water, carrying meanings deeper than thought. They are not sleeping. They are waiting. For what? For us. To remember. To remember that the land itself is sacred. That every breath we take is borrowed from the unseen. Deep within the Otherworld, in a hall of silver leaves, sits the queen of the Aos Sí. Some call her Ain. Others name her Cleodna. But among her people, she is simply the bright one beneath the hill. Her eyes mirror the sky before a storm, not cruel but endless. Once she danced under mortal sun, her laughter echoing across the fields. Now she listens to the muffled thunder of footsteps above, the sound of engines, the scrape of iron, a music she does not understand. Sometimes, when the moon is new and the wind carries the scent of rain, she rises from her throne and walks the inner corridors of her realm. Every corridor leads upward, toward the world that forgot her. And every time she stops just before the final step, where the earth thins into air. Her hand hovers over the soil. She whispers, "Not yet." Because she knows the world is not ready to see her again. Not yet. But soon. Not all have forgotten. Across Ireland, there are still those who greet the dawn with quiet words to the unseen. Old women who leave bowls of cream by the window. Children who press their ears to the earth, listening for music in the roots. Wanderers who, when lost in fog, murmur, "Guide me, gentle ones," and somehow find their way home. To these souls, the Aos Sí show favor, subtle, soft but unmistakable. A lost trinket returned. A sudden burst of inspiration. A dream that feels like memory. Because the fair folk remember kindness and repay it in kind. But to those who mock, who carve their names upon sacred stones or desecrate the old hills, the Aos Sí answer in silence. The kind of silence that follows a storm. A reminder that reverence is not weakness, it is wisdom. In the old belief, every act of man echoed in the realm of the Aos Sí. When humans thrived in harmony with nature, the fair folk sang. When greed rose, their song turned to lament. They are not separate from us. They are the mirror we refuse to face, reflecting what we have done to the world that once fed us. Every drought, every flood, every strange trembling of the earth, in the language of myth, these are not coincidences. They are messages, warnings, reminders that the old balance still binds all living things. When a storm rolls across the Atlantic, it said the Aos Sí move within it, swift and silent, cleansing what has been corrupted. And when the first rays of sun break through the clouds, that light is their forgiveness. The cycle continues, patient as eternity. Have you ever heard music in a place where no musician stands? A faint harp's cry on an empty plain, a hum carried by the breeze? That is their language, the whisper of the Aos Sí. Their songs carry through the veins of the earth, rising wherever someone still dares to dream. The Celts believed that poets and musicians drew their gift from the fair folk. Inspiration, imbas, flowed like light from beneath the hills. To create art was to touch the other world. Even now, those moments when you write, paint, or dream and feel something guiding your hand, that is them. The unseen spark, the whisper that says, "More than you know lies here." Every artist is, in some way, a messenger between worlds. Today, Ireland hums with roads and cities, glass towers and electric hearts. Yet beneath it all, the old land remains, the mounds still breathing under fields and forests. Tourists pass by them without a glance. Children play upon them, unaware. And sometimes, cameras capture strange lights hovering there, orbs drifting against reason, flickers of blue and gold. Science calls it static, gas, coincidence. But the old folk know better. The Aos Sí are still watching. Every whisper of wind through the grass is their voice. Every flicker of light on the hill is their eye. They do not seek to return in full, only to be remembered as they truly are. Not as fluttering sprites, but as the children of Danu, keepers of the land. Immortal watchers beneath the mounds. In every Irish meadow, under every ring of stones, the old stories breathe. The Aos Sí remind us that the world is layered, that beneath logic and reason lies something deeper, wilder, eternal. A heartbeat under the heartbeat of the earth. They are the keepers of balance, between nature and man, belief and arrogance, wonder and forgetfulness. When we tell their stories, we keep that balance alive. Each word spoken in reverence is a spark of power returned to them. The Aos Sí do not need temples. They dwell in memory, in story, in the hush that falls when you stand before beauty and feel small and grateful. That feeling itself is their gift. Because wonder is the oldest form of worship. There are moments each year when the walls between worlds grow thin. Samhain, Beltane, Midsummer's Eve. On those nights, the Aos Sí walk closer to the mortal realm than any other time. Some say they gather in circles of light upon the moors. Others speak of a soft glow moving across the hills, like lanterns carried by unseen hands. If you are still enough, you may hear laughter on the breeze, not mocking but joyous, tinged with the sadness of eternity. Do not fear it. Do not follow it. Simply bow your head and whisper a blessing. They will hear it. They always do. Immortality is not peace, it is patience stretched across millennia. The Aos Sí remember everything. Every betrayal, every kindness, every song ever sung in their honor. Memory is their power, and their burden. When the last believer fades, they will not die, but they will sleep deeper and deeper, until even the earth forgets to dream. That is their greatest fear, not death but oblivion. To exist, unseen and unremembered, in a world that no longer believes in wonder. Yet there is hope. Every child who hears a fairy tale and feels a shiver of awe, keeps them alive. Every traveler who stands before an ancient mound and feels the air shift, reopens the doorway. Every whisper of curiosity, every act of reverence, is a thread binding the worlds together again. Perhaps the Aos Sí do not want worship. Perhaps they only want acknowledgement, to be seen as they once were. The guardians of harmony. The voice of the land. The reminder that magic and divinity were never separate from nature. When rain falls softly on the hills, that is their blessing. When a storm rages, that is their warning. When the dawn breaks through mist, spilling gold across the fields, that is their forgiveness. They have not gone. They have only changed shape, slipping through the cracks of time like sunlight through leaves. In every glimmer, in every echo, they are here. So next time you walk through an Irish field and see a lonely green mound standing against the mist, don't climb it. Don't disturb it. Just stand quietly. Listen. If you hear faint music like silver threads in the wind, smile. It's not your imagination. It's the Aos Sí, calling softly from beneath the hills, reminding you that the old world still breathes beneath your feet. And if, for a heartbeat, the air grows warm and you feel something watching, not with malice but with memory, bow your head. Whisper thank you. For in that moment you are seen. And the veil between worlds grows thinner still. If you believe in the unseen, subscribe to Fairy Mystery, where every story hides a secret waiting to be found.